All right, good morning, people. Just a reminder that we are recording the meeting. Today is Thursday, April 6th, and this is Derita Matters. I am Teresa McDonald. I'm a realtor in the area. I've lived in Allen Hills since 2007, and I am on the board of Derita Statesville Road Community Organization. And I'll just call on you in order, and at least as I see you, and just a quick introduction. Thank you very much. Sylvia Cannon.
Good morning. Sylvia Cannon, been in Allen Hills since 1970. President of Allen Hills Community Group and also president of Derita Statesville Road.
Thank you, Sylvia. Mel.
Yes, Mel Renner, long time, very long time, HOA president, past president of the Forest Pond community. Also serve on the board for the Derita Statesville Community Organization. And I apologize ahead of time. I'll probably have to leave here early. I've got a follow-up appointment for cataract surgery that I just had. And much to my amazement, I see better without my glasses than I do with them. And I didn't realize that I was associating with so many good-looking people.
Excellent. Well, that's reason enough for everybody to get cataract surgery. Thank you, Mel. Shantae.
Hi, I'm Shantae, and I currently sit on the board for Scottsboro HOA.
Welcome, Shantae, Scottsboro, and Jeffrey Simpson.
Good morning, all. Jeffrey Simpson. I am presently the the president of the Farmington HOA. I also sit on the Charlotte Citizens Review Board, and recently, maybe some of you are familiar, I'm also recently been selected for the Neighborhood Matching Grant organization.
Oh, wonderful. So is that a committee that you're on for the matching grants?
Yeah, it is committee. It's just had a meeting yesterday. I don't want to put a negative spin on it. It's really not. It's a committee or organization that some people say it's a well-kept secret. Well, it's not, but it just hasn't been out there enough. Here's what happened. My HOA has used it. It does very well with the neighborhood matching grant. What they do basically, there's two tiers to it. That means two territories. One gets up to $10,000. The other gets up to $25,000 with regards to, beautification or an enhancement of its community. So it's very it's very good to know organizational committee, and I'm happy to be part of that. And as I get more involved in it, I'm sure I'll pass that information on to DSRCO, which I have also passed DSRCO and what we do to them as well. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jeffrey. Yes, that is a great committee, and wonderful to have somebody from Derita on that who can report back to us and maybe, help more of our neighborhoods participate in that process. And if you're not familiar, it is a city program where they have grants available for neighborhoods to apply for assistance, financial assistance from the city. And there's a process and there's requirements and so on, but a great program, really. So I'm delighted that you're on, because I was just talking to somebody at our meeting on Tuesday here in Allen Hills, and it's still hard for some neighborhoods in our area, particularly, to, even once they've gone through all the steps and been awarded a grant, to come up with the other requirements, particularly the volunteer hours, and just communicating to residents, you know, that it's something that they need to participate in. So we were sort of just interested in ways to maybe suggest changes in the program based on that, because community wealth is associated with a lot of people with extra time and bandwidth to deal with, you know, those kind of processes. And we don't have that in Derita. We have generally a lot of people working very hard and raising families and so on, and not a lot of time and bandwidth to
for a generation just hemorrhaging
to do that. All right, sorry, that was a bit of a
and with that, Teresa, what happens is that that's what my HOA was going through with regards to that process. It could be very discouraging, but they do have people. You saw her at your last meeting. Aisha who helped me a lot through that. She's not on that anymore, but now they do have someone there to kind of handhold and guide someone through the paperwork guidelines of it. So
yeah, it is a great program, and I understand why they have the process, because like any regulation, if you make it, if the bar is too low, it makes it easier for people who have a lot of resources. And so there's a balance between making the bar, you know, at the right height so that people with a lot of resources don't, you know, have an advantage. So yeah, it's anyway, I'm sorry to get so distracted on that subject, but I'm delighted to hear that we've got somebody in the community on that board. So all right, let's just continue with introductions. Mark W.
Hey, good morning. I'm not on any boards or anything, but I'm over here in Sugar Springs off of Mineral Springs Road, so I'm not sure if you guys still consider us Derita or not, but we're always on the calls, so we'll take it.
Yeah, thank you. No, you definitely are part. This map that I'm displaying here, really, we just limited it to the older neighborhoods that existed probably before about 1970. And there's a lot of neighborhoods, you know, that have been added since then, that we could try to get on this map. Maybe, you know, that'll take some graphic design skills. But yeah, no, definitely part of Derita. You're very close to downtown Derita.
Yep.
Kind of in this area over here.
Yep. So an update, I just for everybody, if you've heard me on the call before, I actually quit my job. So hooray. And I'm not sure if I gave y'all an update yet, but there's a new park. It's been there's a new park. It's called it's really horrible name. It's Two Springs Park. It's just because it falls between Mineral Springs and Dobie Springs Road. But yeah, there's a new park. It's about 6.5 acres, and that's it. I think I might have told y'all before, but that's just a happy reminder.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, we have covered that, and delighted to know. And I know that's going to be a big improvement for you guys in Sugar Springs, since you have so many social events, and now you have a place, you know, a bigger place and so on. So that's awesome. Howard and Mary Alice Bratton.
Yes, good morning. This is Mary Alice Bratton, and I'm a 28-year resident. I'm here in Great Oaks, and always good to hear you guys and be a part of this great communications. So just wanted to join you guys this morning.
Wonderful, thank you. Pearl's iPad. Jonathan, let's go to you, John Hoig.
I'm just a resident here of Allen Hills and been here for 30 years now. Glad to be here this morning.
Thank you. Anybody that I miss? Oh, Jill. Jill Campbell.
Hi, yes, this is Jill. I am the HOA president for General's Point off of Gibbon Road.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Jill. And I thought I saw Tanya Faison coming in. Oh, hang on a second. There's some people in the waiting room. So let me just admit.
While you do that, I was unmuted. This is Pearl.
Hey, Pearl. Yeah.
I represent Walnut Creek HOA.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Great to see you here. Okay, then we've got a few more people that have come in. Hopefully they're ready to introduce. And let me see, Thomas Templeton.
Oh, good morning. How are y'all doing?
Good, thank you.
Thomas
We're just doing
Templeton.
introductions.
Okay. Oh, very good. Thomas Templeton, Royal Oaks neighborhood. Been a longtime resident there, and currently the treasurer for the Derita Statesville Road organization.
Awesome, wonderful to see you, Thomas. Let's see, Tanya Faison.
Hi, good morning. I'm Tanya Faison. I'm the president of the Derita Athletic Association.
Wonderful. And Carrie Miller.
Hi, good morning. I am Carrie. I'm on the board at the Avalon at Mallard Creek Townhome Community. Long-standing community advocate.
Wonderful.
In his latest Truth Social post.
All right, somebody's got something playing.
It's the first time in his life this former president.
Do we know where that's coming from? Okay, I think I found it. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm doing something a little bit different today because I didn't make a slide for everything that's on the agenda, and just gonna have just like a general talking update with the map in front of me and you, so that hopefully you can follow along with the areas that we're talking about and covering. The first thing I have to do is figure out how to minimize the slide deck. So let me try to figure it out. Okay, there we go. All right, the first thing I want to talk about, because they're not here today to give us an update in person, but I did get a call from Monica Holmes, who is the head of the city's Corridors of Opportunity program or department. And they did a big update for us at our in-person meeting last month. So if you were there, you would have heard about all the different challenges with the Sugar Creek corridor. Now that the study area or the area of focus is a 3-mile length of West Sugar Creek from the light rail station, basically, to downtown Derita. So that whole stretch of Sugar Creek is what they studied in the playbook process, and all that they're tackling various things, because each geography, there are 3 kind of sub-geographies on that corridor, downtown Derita being one, the interchange at Sugar Creek and 85 is the other, and then kind of where Hidden Valley is and the light rail, etc., on the other side of 85 is the third kind of sub-geography. So there's a lot. I'm not going to go into everything that they updated. We have a recording of the in-person meeting. I have not received it yet from the church. But we'll try to get that up so that you guys can go and look at that update. There's also a slide deck, which I will get as well, although it's hard to always understand from the slide deck what the update is. But anyway, now with AI, I'm hoping that I can find a neat little program that will actually summarize these meetings and come up with a good note, meeting notes. So I am working on that, and if anybody has a head start on that, let me know, because I know these things exist, but I'm not so tech savvy. But I should think something exists that can listen to a YouTube recording and summarize it. So we'll look at that. But the big update from the Sugar Creek corridor, and you will hear about it coming up for a vote on Monday with in front of City Council. The city is proposing to buy one of the motels. And if you don't know, one of the big issues around that interchange, 85 and Sugar Creek, is that there is an oversaturation of motels. There are 14, I believe, motels and hotels within a half mile or maybe up to a mile radius of that intersection. So it's a big challenge, and one of the challenges is that they are substantial cash businesses, and the owners are making a ton of money, and it's sort of hard to verify and hard to come up with a price, if anybody wanted to buy those properties to do something better with them that would be better for the community. It's hard because we're talking substantial cash businesses that are operating over there. So the city has identified one property, the Budget Inn, at the corner of Reagan and Hunter, and they are proposing to buy that, and it'll be demolished and redeveloped. So, but the idea is coming up for a vote this coming Monday in front of City Council. And she just wanted to make sure that we knew about it, because the city's meeting agenda will be coming out later today, and then there's bound to be some talk about it. This is Monica, the head of the Corridors of Opportunity. She's moderately confident that the City Council will vote to purchase this property. I think it would help if we're in support to let our representatives know. So that's something to think about. I will send the actual wording from the City Council agenda so that you can see exactly what they're proposing. But it's a little bit outside of the area that we cover, but of course we're connected. Sugar Creek connects Derita, even though 85 is a barrier, a significant barrier. We're very much connected, and we appreciate our neighbors in Hidden Valley, and they're even closer to this intersection. And these motels and the associated transactional crime and just general problems that arise from that has really affected a lot of the neighborhoods that are close to that, and they've been fighting that perception and just all of that for a long time. Finally, the city is taking some action. So that motel must be here somewhere, the budget in. They're working with caseworkers because there are a few long-term residents in those hotels. So, you know, it's not as easy as just buying and demolishing a hotel. You have to think about the people that are going to be completely homeless. And they are working with caseworkers, with crisis assistants. I believe there are 10 or 12 long-term residents. Some of them are actually employees of the hotel. So they are working with that to try to do the best they can to relocate and connect those people with services. So that is the big news, and just one aspect of what is coming out of the Sugar Creek corridor playbook. You know, those motels were definitely identified as a major source of some of the problems that we see all along Sugar Creek, really. And into the neighborhoods that are off Sugar Creek.
Teresa,
So,
is there any indication what they plan to do with the property afterwards? Demolish?
Yeah, they are talking to a number of developers, and it's right next to the interstate. And so the consensus seems to be that for sale townhomes would be the best fit for over there. But yeah, it would be demolished. I don't believe that it's something that can be that makes sense, especially since the sale price is around $4.2 million. So
For that place.
Sorry?
I said for that place. I'm surprised. Every time I go by it looks like it's about to fall apart, but okay.
Yeah, and the challenge with that is that, you know, you can appraise the land value, which is why developers, you know, are not going to buy it at that price. Because even if you put some beautiful townhomes in there, it's hard to make it make sense financially at that price. So the income from the property is really what drives the price, but we can't let that property continue. I mean, if we can help it. So that was a question I asked, was, you know, why wouldn't developers be interested in buying it? But they wouldn't, not at that price. And so that's where the city comes in. So to some extent, it's a price that's attractive enough to whoever owns and operates it to sell. But yeah, what they're thinking most likely would be for sale townhomes. And then they're hoping that would be, you know, that would demonstrate the possibilities for that area. And then that would put pressure on the other motel owners to perhaps sell, you know, as more developers and private investors see that a for sale townhome community works and sells well over there. Hopefully it will be the start of something. But it is right on the interstate, so there's not a whole lot, and they would be affordable. They don't have to be subsidized necessarily, because affordable and market rate for townhomes right on the interstate is about the same. So I only just heard about it in the last 30 minutes, but I know it's something that particularly Hidden Valley residents have been hoping for a long time, because those businesses are a problem, and they're causing a lot of external problems for the neighborhoods around. So hopefully this is a good start, but the vote will be coming up with City Council on Monday. I know that Dante Anderson, who is the City Council representative for this area, she is very much in support, and I think has been probably quite active in trying to connect all these pieces, you know, the property owner, the neighborhoods, the city, the developers, trying to bring everybody together to try to come up with something that's going to be a better use of that land than a cash business that attracts a lot of other problems. So any other questions on that, I will try to answer, but for those of us in District 4 or 2, so that would be Malcolm Graham's district or Renee Johnson, I think it might be worth dropping a note to them if you're in support of this idea.
Teresa, several times I've heard the description of light rail in this area. I'm not familiar with any light rail off of Sugar Creek or anything like that. You talking about something off of Tryon or something, or?
Yes, the light rail station is it's somewhere close to Sugar Creek and
It's on the other side of the bridge, Teresa.
Sorry?
There is a light rail connection over there.
Yes.
So if you have your light rail off of Sugar Creek, you also have your light rail off of Tryon. This property would be in between both of those. I think closest to the Sugar Creek stop. So it's right there when you cross the bridge on the other side of the Asian Corners. That's where your light rail station will be. So it is walkable from that area.
Yeah, I zoomed in on the map. I'm assuming everybody can see the map that I'm sharing. And this is the Google map that I try to maintain. And when I go back to Derita, you'll see the Derita stuff. But here's the light rail. You can see the stations. So the light rail station is around that big bridge that goes over the rail lines, basically on East Sugar Creek. So it's, and where we are talking about Hunter and Reagan is, let's see, I think about here, very close to the interstate is where that Budget Inn is. So, and you know, one of the other updates that we got from the city is that sidewalk has been approved and funded and all the good things to put proper sidewalk really all the way from the Roman Road all the way into Derita, into Rumpel Road, but then also here along West Sugar Creek if there are any gaps. So in theory, yes, you can get to the light rail. I don't know what that distance is offhand. I don't know how to measure it easily, but yeah, it's a good use. And you're right by the 85 as well, of course. And then the other thing, the RAISE grant, the federal grant that the corridors department is applying for, that's a federal grant that would provide, amongst other things, a dedicated bus route that doesn't currently exist, that would go from this light rail all the way into downtown Derita and back. And that's all it would do every 10 to 15 minutes. So that would give people, you know, without cars, certainly a much more convenient way to get around.
I think that's wonderful, Teresa.
Yeah,
Teresa,
yeah.
Teresa,
So
can
let your city councillors know that you support this plan and encourage them to vote to do it.
Teresa,
yes.
Can you point one more time to where the proposed light rail is?
It's not proposed. It's the actual light rail.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, where can you point to it one more time?
Here it goes. and I don't know if I can get a better route, but it comes out of Uptown.
Right.
And then it roughly follows North Tryon and 29, but it goes
Yeah, the
along
blue
here.
dots
You can
are
see
the
where
stations.
the stations are.
Okay.
So this station, and it's a very convenient station. I mean, I use it.
is.
There's free parking there. I
Mhm.
use it if I'm going to Noda or Uptown, and I don't want to be bothered with trying to park and, do crazy stuff like that. I will park at that light rail station and then take the train to Noda or downtown. Especially if you're going to a big event or something downtown and you don't want to, because you can get stuck for an hour just trying to get a car out of downtown. It's after some of those big events.
No, it's a lovely station. And there's a lot of development around there too. There's also a new arts and I think it's like a Charlotte Art Theater. It's neighborhood theater over there too.
The theater is there.
Yeah, it's all
Couple
very,
of
very
nice
new.
restaurants.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would also ask Teresa, since we're talking about access, has those new apartments are pretty much, I would say, looks like about 75% done off of University City. I know you're probably not there yet, but I am asking if there's any conversation about sidewalks there to connect Derita to University City, since we have new development right there off of IBM Drive and
Yes.
University City.
Yeah, all those plans around there, and let me just try to get to where we're talking about. So along University City Boulevard here, and there's a new one over here that's just, I haven't added to the map, but all of this development, this particular one right at University and Neil, that's the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, that is going to provide a multi-purpose path, one of their 12-foot paths all the way along here, which will, it'll substantially close a gap. It doesn't, I don't believe it goes over the bridge.
Well, that's what we need. We need to get over the bridge.
Well,
There's a shoulder.
there is a big shoulder there, and there are bike lanes and
Hey,
so
I hear you laughing.
so-
I get it. But when I was a kid growing up, like we walked on that stuff all the time.
Yes.
There's also a greenway segment that they've been go ahead. I'll let you say it, Teresa.
all the way here too. So this project has added, as part of the community benefits around that development, of course, this big multi-purpose path here, and then connections. So eventually this Dobie Creek Greenway will also provide some alternatives. I don't know exactly, because of course these freeways are they're substantial barriers.
Yes, they are.
A few years ago, Joe Margolis and Marion and I did like a walk audit of this area. And we actually walked this whole block, because they live over here in Michael's Landing. And, here's a light rail station and it's less than 2 miles away.
Exactly.
So how, this is not even the Sugar Creek light rail station. This is the one on McCullough.
University City.
Yeah. University City. And then, of course, there's all these shopping and restaurants and stuff over here in Belgate. And then the entertainment district that's coming together over here where Top Golf is. So we did that walking audit and basically walked from Michael's Landing all the way along here. And we had to walk in that shoulder and over the bridge. And it's
scary. It's pretty
super unpleasant and very scary. So hopefully at that time when we did that walk, which was only about 4 years ago, there was no sign that any of this land was going to be developed.
Yeah.
In fact, University City Partners told us that this would be the last land to be developed because of the topography. And so, you know, we didn't have much hope that would eventually, you know, because I think it's a mile of sidewalk that's really missing here. If you go from, because there's good sidewalk all along University City Boulevard here, this section. And even, yeah, beyond Neil, like between Neil and North Graham, there's good sidewalk. But this section, it's about a mile that's missing, because once you get close to IKEA and all of that newer development, there are sidewalks there. But it's the bridge and then this long stretch here. So now this long stretch, I believe most of it will be at, you know, the multi-purpose path will be added. Because yeah, this parcel pretty much is this whole piece here. And it does include some beautiful greenway. So potentially you'd be able to take this greenway to connect to the other parts of the greenway, which are up, you know, and get to University City around the lake, you know, that without getting in a car, you could take a bicycle and walk, depending on how much time you have along this greenway to get there. So things are coming together. Of course, they take a long time.
Yeah,
But
Teresa,
yeah,
yeah, Teresa. See, this is not to plug anything, but this is why, you know, my motivation to do that bus tour. You see, so that people can identify exactly what you're talking about. You know,
yes.
you can talk. You know, it's good to have a map and things of that sort. But when you can actually physically see and understand what it is, you're more likely as a group here to be able to identify what's going on in our area. Just plugging that in there.
Yeah, thank you. And I will call on you to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But that we got onto, you know, kind of development stuff that is going on, and this is the Google map that I maintain, and actually the city's new Explore Charlotte map is actually pretty good as well. You can go there and you can look up just about anything that you want to look up, from, you know, CMPD calls for service to rezonings. And that link is always in my slides, and trying to work on just a one page that has all these links that you guys can save. So you, especially if you're in an HOA and you're trying to help other people keep up with stuff, your community, you'll have some resources, some links. But this is the Derita map, and all these green marks are the rezonings that have been approved in the last few years. Some of them are under construction, some are still, you know, coming, some are in process. We don't have a lot of rezonings in process. I think we have 3, so I'll just go to my spreadsheet so we can look at the ones that are pending. And I don't even know if I updated this, sorry. I probably updated it somewhere else, because I think those that show pending there have been approved, so I need to update that. But these are the ones that are actually still pending. There are 3, and this is another interesting one so, you know, Derita area that we cover, that is on Sunset Road, where they're talking about converting 2 existing motels to multifamily housing. Don't know the details, haven't had anybody reach out. The actual rezoning doesn't seem to have moved forward, but I keep trying to get somebody to come and talk to us a little bit about that, about what they're doing there. It sounds like they will be renovating and converting the existing motels. But that one's been in the works for a while. I just haven't seen much movement on it, and would love to talk to somebody who has more information. So we'll keep working on that. And then we have a big parcel on off Gibbon Road that is also in process. There was a public hearing February 10th, I think. So we'll keep track of that. Oh gosh, go away. Trying to look at something else here. And this is another parcel very close to that area we were just talking about around IBM and University City Boulevard. Another parcel that is going, it's going to be redeveloped. And with every rezoning like this, the plus side is always that the city does require them to add those sidewalks. And on roads like IBM Drive and University City Boulevard, it's required to be a 12-foot multi-use path that is well separated from cars. So, that's going to provide some real mobility for people that feels a whole lot better than walking in the shoulder on, as people are coming off the interstate. But still, there's some challenges still with like the bridge across 85. That's NCDOT. It's they have priorities around an interstate, keeping people moving, making sure stuff doesn't back up onto the interstate. So lots of problems to solve. They can't just suddenly put pedestrians and bicycles in the mix and have it be an easy solution. So we'll have to watch that. But all of that land being developed around that University City Boulevard is gonna add more sidewalks and more connectivity for us. New one that I found that is in our area, this one is, if I go back to the map, this one is that funny little bend in Sugar Creek, and this might, for the lady Tanya from Derita Athletics, this is close to you. Here, where Sugar Creek bends like this, as you come out of downtown Derita heading towards Harris Boulevard. This parcel over here is the subject of that rezoning, and it looks like they were looking for single family. I couldn't find a site plan or anything yet. It's just been added to the city's website, so we'll keep track of that. I don't think that they would allow a lot of driveways onto Sugar Creek, so it would have to be designed in some other way. That maybe the entrance, there's one entrance off Sugar Creek, and then some internal driveways or parking or something. But we'll keep an eye on that, because that over there is a pretty hairy part of Sugar Creek generally. If you're in a car, never mind, there's no place to walk or ride. So presumably they'd be required to put in some kind of sidewalk as part of this development, but it wouldn't necessarily connect anywhere until the city finds the funds to add sidewalk, or these parcels get redeveloped for some reason and the developer adds those sidewalks. So that is rezoning updates around, and I do just focus on that area inside 85. Here's 85 and 77, and then Harris Boulevard here. So inside of that area is what I focus on. There is a lot going on, going down Sugar Creek further. Tryon Malls is being redeveloped. Tryon Mall, Asian Corners Mall at Tryon and West Sugar Creek. That should be a major improvement. and yeah, there's lots going on. Mainly the new development is really attracted to and focused on the light rail stations. So that's really where a lot of the private investment is going, and why we in Derita are struggling with, you know, some of this property in downtown Derita that has been on the market for 5 years, that is still not being picked up. So, but I'm having conversations every day. I don't meet a developer that I don't tell them about the Puckett's property. Because it just boggles my mind that, you know, $4.2 million for a piece of property right on the interstate. And yet, you know, 2.5 or something for the Puckett's property isn't viable for a developer. It boggles my mind, but, you know, I guess I just don't know enough about how those things work. But there's a lot of factors that are attracting investment to the light rail stations. And part of that is because the land has already been rezoned for more dense and for commercial, etc., around those stations. So there's a lot more possibilities. You know, if somebody were to buy the Puckett's property, they'd probably spend, you know, $500,000 just going through a rezoning process. So that's development. Has anybody got any questions or any observations, anything that you think we should be looking into that you've seen on the ground and wondering about? Thomas.
Yeah, what have you heard about the Graham Street Park?
I will put that on my list to try to get an answer for us. I do know that the county purchased the land. And this is at the corner of Graham Street and
Princess.
Mm-hmm. I'll just try to get to it if I can figure out where I am on the map. There's Nevin, there's 85. Where the heck is Graham Street?
Up into the right there.
Oh, there we go. So right here, the county has purchased a substantial piece. I want to say it's about 5 acres. And I've covered it in previous meetings, and there is a slide that shows this land. Unfortunately, my Google map doesn't have that detail, but you can go normally the Google map. I think I've just picked a base map here that's different, and I don't know how to change it quickly. The parcel there was purchased by the county. It's labeled as North Graham Street Park, undeveloped, but I don't have any information other than the owners who sold to the county. 1 or 2 of them are saying that they understood it would be for parking for county vehicles. Maybe that would be an interim use until they actually have the funds to develop it into a park, but we'll try to get some information from the county on that.
Well, and a couple of questions I'd have is that currently when you look at Polaris in the Mecklenburg County website, it shows that, like you're talking about, it shows that northeast corner of that area as park.
Yes.
But it's missing one of the properties that fronts Graham Street. So the park forms a U around that property.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. Hopefully everybody can see. This is from Polaris.
And the other thing I'd say is that if they are truly planning for a park in the future, it would be great if they try to get the next parcel to the north there that's just empty land behind the Food Lion.
Yeah. it would be. I mean, it's weird that they couldn't negotiate something with this owner right here.
Right.
That is now, you know, what use can there be for that property surrounded by a park like that?
Right.
But you know, it's hard, and I don't know. You know, this is owned by an LLC. I'm not sure if it's the same.
Well, that's the
LLC.
Radcliffe. That's the Radcliffe bunch from before.
The Sugar Creek.
Yeah,
It is Radcliffe. Okay.
I think,
wasn't sure.
I think they got different names for it, but I think it's
Yeah.
the same bunch.
Yeah, and it may be so.
It is.
So they're you know, they may be holding that for some other reason.
Well, it's been decades and they haven't done squat with it in all that time, except for cut down all the trees.
Yeah.
So
It
would be great to be, if they're truly going to put a park there, it would be great if they could expand it, obviously out. That would be a major expansion there
the
with that
better use
property.
would be residential, to add some more actual residents that would use this park. But yeah, so they may be, you know, waiting for that. I don't know that parcel is up for sale, but this is part of the problem that we deal with, is that these longtime owners, there's absolutely no incentive or disincentive to just leave land wallowing and decaying, and, you know, buildings like a, you know, house that's hardly in any use or whatever else is on these properties. And I don't know, that's a bigger conversation on how we can structure our taxes and incentives to try to get people to do something with some of this land. I mean, that's a big problem that we have in Derita, is that the owners who own the land have no interest in investing anymore in the land.
And that's what I said.
Also not
I don't know if the
selling.
county is, I don't know if the county is plan, you know, obviously I'm hoping the county is trying to negotiate with that last holdout right there, that right there. But also would be nice if they were also trying to look at that former that Radcliffe property as well.
Right.
The city, excuse me, the city offered a price for this piece in the middle. And according to the owners, which I happen to know personally, they said that they tried to lowball them. And they do have someone looking at that property right now for a company, because all of these people were told that they're going to park their vehicles there. It's not going to be a park for kids to play in. That's part of what that bargain was when they went this. Now, whether they hold to that or not, that they now own it. They can do what they want to. But that's this one right here. They will not, after the lowball told me they would not negotiate with the city until the city decided to come up in the price. And they've done that for several parcels that they have here in Charlotte. I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but that's the way they work. They're nice people, but they're a holdout.
Well, and the thing is, you know, you wonder what they've been offered. They say lowball, but you know, what are they asking for this dilapidated house, you know, and the land surrounding it? So
I understand that. I'm not taking up for them. I'm just telling you what happened.
Oh, I can understand, like Teresa's talking about there. Yeah, you got people, you know, thinking that because I've got it for so long, and somebody, you know, nearby got X amount of millions of dollars for their property, they think they get that too, you know. So
yeah.
But I'm certainly not. Of course, you know, being that right there on the edge of my neighborhood, right there, you know, I'm not interested in them parking cars there. I want to park. I want a real park.
Yeah. So
you know,
we've got to talk to the county and understand, you know, and maybe maybe if you have time to try to connect with the county, I've got contacts.
Yeah, if you got somebody I can call up and
Yeah.
find and try to get some sort of update on that, other than just some green space on the on the map. That would be
Yeah,
great.
no, because this is very important to Royal Oaks.
You're darn right. Yeah,
Make a big difference. And then, of course, just over here, this big townhome community.
right. Exactly.
I think part of the idea was that there would be some kind of walking trail.
There
here
was.
for
Yes,
Royal Oaks
exactly.
to, so as this is completed, it would make sense if there's a walking trail all along this creek for these residents and for Royal Oaks to make use of the park.
Well, that would be fantastic if you could go run along that creek there. However, what you're going through there is obviously some people's private property.
Yeah,
there on the edge, but also behind the businesses that front Graham Street there, which to them it's just it's just downhill from them. It's just they wouldn't miss it any, but I don't know who would put that in.
At that time, this was UPS, and it is now T Freight, which is out of Canada. But
Canadians are always easy to get along with, so we can
yeah, exactly. But UPS was very amenable to allowing some kind of a path there.
Right, it's nothing, they can't use
that
land. It's
when we were having those conversations. Yeah,
it's what am I trying to think of? The word I'm trying to think of. It's not drainage. That's not right. It's
stormwater. Yeah,
exactly.
Stormwater
area. You can't use it.
Yeah, but all these creeks are very good places for walking trails. And while we're on it, I'm going to try to find the park that Mark was talking about. I better zoom out a little so I can see what I'm doing. Over here, this is the park in Sugar Springs, between Derby Springs and Sugar Springs, which is an awesome.
It's not humongous, but it's you see, it's an island of green.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic because a big quality of life measure is being able to walk less than 10 minutes to a park. That's a huge quality of life improvement for all these neighbors over here. So
I don't know how much we've gotten off track, but if you have time, do you have any idea what's going on with Jordan Park?
With Jordan Park, I think that is about here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I don't know. This LLC, I have looked it up previously, and I think it's related to the church still. This is all Northside Baptist here. So we're talking about the soccer fields and that big vacant piece over there. I don't. If anybody has any connections there, with Northside, even I might have some connections to try to see what they're planning over there. But yeah, that's potentially also a great resource for all these residences around here that have no park within walking distance. Even if it were in walking distance, you got to try to cross Sugar Creek or Graham to get to it. That's not how parks work. Parks need to be inside neighborhoods so that people can just walk there safely.
Last I heard, Jordan Park was owned by John Gouch that owns the cemetery right there.
And that may be so. I just don't remember offhand. I have looked up the owners of this LLC, but the names didn't really mean anything. It didn't give me any information that was a good clue for me. But if anybody else wants to try digging into that and get some answers, that would be great. But yeah, let's see, just to try to stay on track a little bit. Things that are coming up to get involved in, oh, hang on, I clicked on the wrong. Somewhere I've got, oh, there we go. As part of the UDO, the Unified Development Ordinance that was passed, as well as the 2040 comprehensive plan and the mapping involved, all related to land use and zoning in the city. The next stage is this community area planning. And there are workshops. Let me see, they've got a bunch of videos here. I don't know if a video might be good. Let's just see what the get involved slide has. But you can get involved to attend a workshop, check out the community area planning workbook, because this is the part where we in the community, residents, just normal people, you don't have to be on an HOA or in any kind of leadership position, but you can go and be part of these workshops to finalize the community area plans. So there's a full schedule. They run out to September actually this year. And they've divided the city into areas, and I believe we probably fit into the north outer, if there is such a thing, or north, middle, and outer, probably. If I can find a map, we can see for sure. But that's how they've divided the city. Like if you think of Charlotte, you know, downtown's the center of the web, and then you know, or a clock probably, or a compass. Hey, how about a compass? So the center is the city, and then, you know, you've got the wedges with the north inner or the northeast inner, and then outer. So we would be probably an outer ring of the city. So I'll send out the link, but I would encourage you. Derita generally has to get involved, and I'm sure Jeffrey will let us know too that, you know, those committees, those commissions, that the city has bunches of them, and it would be helpful for people from our part of town to get onto those committees and commissions and just, you know, be part of the conversations that happen, that make decisions, that inform staff or inform city council when it's time to vote on something. So I will put this out and encourage you guys to get involved, especially if you live in an older neighborhood, like us here in Allen Hills or anywhere that you, Royal Oaks, that there is no HOA, there are no restrictions, covenants and restrictions in place that really dictate what can be built in those neighborhoods. This is a chance to get involved and try to be part of the solution. We know that, you know, things can't stay the same for the most part in a growing city. Last year we had 111 people every day move to Charlotte. So the city is growing. It's a good problem to have, as they say, better than the alternative. But here we can have some kind of say in what will be allowed in the future. Obviously, pulling up the drawbridge or setting things completely in stone so that they cannot change or evolve is really not an option. But within those parameters, we should be able to have a say on how our neighborhoods and areas will change over the coming years. This is like the 2040 plan, so the next couple of decades almost. Jeffrey, before we finish, and I think this will just be the last thing because we're already past 10 o'clock. Last Zoom meeting, just to give a little background, Jeffrey raised the possibility of, having a physical bus ride or some kind of on the ground tour of Derita, so that people on these calls, most people just drive from point A to point B and they're not necessarily exploring the whole area. So this is something Jeffrey has taken the lead on this and has certainly had experience before doing community bus tours. And he's been working on, and I'll let you give all the updates, but the basic gist is that for Saturday, June 3rd is our target date to have a bus tour. And I've just started to kind of list the things that we may want to cover in that tour. We're working right now on the nuts and bolts, the bus, exactly how it would work. I think preferably one bus would make more sense, so that we're all getting the same information. And the goal would be for people within the community who want to drive around and see in person the things that we talk about, but also, even to give our city councillors tours of what we're talking about. We have Dante Anderson, very involved in the district. She has family in Derita. She's a Charlotte native, but still doesn't have a solid idea of what we're talking about when we mention our junkyards or, issues that we've had ongoing problems with for years. So that would be part of the goal for this, would be to look at, some of the challenges, but also to highlight the assets, the good things for the area. So Jeffrey, you want to add?
Yeah. Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Teresa. Gee whiz. It's dangerous to give me a mic in an audience. But anyway, Sylvia, I read and I dug deep with regards to the history of DSRCO, and I applaud you for all that you've done. I've seen a lot how this thing started and how you took over to the other people that was in your position. And with that, when I began to dig into this, and when I attended that last meeting, even other meetings, one thing that I noticed is that even today, right now as we speak, is that there's 9 communities, from yours, Sylvia, Allen, got Forest, got Great Oaks, all these different communities that have the slightest idea where you are, the slightest idea. Okay, and most likely, if people are like me, they don't know either. So what came to mind was, okay, we're talking about these different things, and Teresa's doing a great job with the maps and things of that sort. But I think that what we need to do in order to really be able to identify and empathize with things that we're talking about is to physically and mentally be able to understand where these areas are. I'm still trying to process what that like real is as I speak. So I said to myself, I said, well, let's do a bus tour. Let's get people on the bus and take them physically to see where these areas are. When you're talking about ribbon walks, or you're talking about whatever case may be, how big is Derita? How far does it stretch? East, west, north, south? How big is that? There's an area right now that comes to mind right behind the post office, whereby there's a community back there. Having the slightest idea who they are, okay, having the slightest idea what the streets are. You see what I'm saying? So I think that be able to associate with that, okay, will also broaden the strength of DSRCO, as well as make people aware of Derita. You remember how I teased you during the last meeting? Is it Derita or Derita? Remember that? Well, how do you pronounce it? So we need to grasp that and understand our areas, and especially when we begin to present it to other people. I right now, and as I speak to these businesses and other people, I talk about DSRCO, they say, who, what, you know, and the thing is, I think this right now, this platform is a very strong mouthpiece for the community. That's what I call it. I call DSRCO the watchdog of the community. And people go, oh, I didn't know that. We need to understand that and let them understand, you know, what we do. So anyway, all right. So I said a bus tour, 30 people. So it created a lot of excitement, you know, with regards to doing something like that. And right now I'm soliciting with regards to bids, as well as somebody which looked like it might happen. I hope it does. You know, actually to donate a bus. It might be a bus or two, Teresa, because I think this thing can really blow up, not only for the people that's on this call, but there might be other people like these 9 different communities. That alone, if they bring the HOAs in, it's going to blow up way beyond 30 people. But anyway, that's not my purpose. My purpose is to get the bus, you know, and then to get people to speak on the bus while we're going through these sections is very easy. Even the people that part of that committee that you talked about had all these things written down that's doing these plans for the community that was at the last meeting. They could be on there talking about these different areas. Anyway, that's the motivation I have. And I'm hopeful that this motivation and spirit will pass on to the people on this call and say, yeah, let's do this bus tour. Let's find out what this community is and actually physically see what's going on.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jeffrey. And the cost, like, if we were to actually rent a bus or two to accommodate 30 to 45 people, I think we have to put a cap on it and have people RSVP. It can't, you know, we can't have a convoy of buses, much as I would love to. But still, if the YMCA, for instance, donates buses, their buses are about 13 capacity, 13 people. So there would potentially be, say, three of their buses. But so those are the avenues. Potentially the use of a bus is donated. If we have to pay or raise funds for it, from what I've seen from the quotes, we're looking at around $800 for the bus and a driver, and that would give us 4 hours. And then, you know, that would be the big, hard overhead, you know, cost of doing something like this. And so potentially, worst case, if we don't get any donations of an actual bus and a driver, or a couple of buses and drivers, we would be looking to try to raise some funds. And I know that, you know, there are a lot of business owners that would be happy to donate, and I'm sure people on this call too. And, you know, we could probably raise some of those funds, but we are working on, you know, trying to get it donated. The biggest cost would be the actual bus and the driver.
Right. I think the why might come through, and that'll be at no charge. But if not, because they're going to have capacity, like you said, 11 to 13 people, but they have multiple buses. You don't really want a caravan. That'd be cute, you know, probably get some TV coverage, but that's not what I'm trying to do. You know, that's not up to me. That's going to be up to whomever wants to further this effort along. My purpose is to really get that bus. But yeah, I just think I just think that it would be exciting and something good to do. I hope people on this call agree with that.
Yeah, I'd like to hear some thoughts. Thomas?
Jeffrey and Teresa, I like that idea. Because you're right. You know, a lot of people, you can look at a map all day, but till you see it on the ground, you really don't get a good visual representation of what's going on. But is there any thoughts of somehow getting the CATS folks to buy into this concept as well, in some way, shape, or form?
I approached them first. They turned it down.
Well, of course they did.
Yeah, so we're working on that angle too. Jeffrey has some very good connections in you know, with amongst the elected officials and other organizations, and it may still happen, I suppose, that CATS could be persuaded by, you know, a city councillor or somebody like that to participate in something like this. Yeah, so
try the school system and see if you can get a school bus.
Yes.
Yeah, school bus. That would hold
Churches.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, the funny bus, maybe we could borrow the funny bus.
Yes. Yeah, I think one of the
Yeah.
quotes that Jeffrey got is one of the organizations that has the funny bus. Right, Jeffrey?
What's the funny bus?
Oh, it's the bus that does tours around kind of around downtown Charlotte, but I think they're operated by Roses or one of those that you already talked to about.
Yeah, we have a quote from Rose. The thing that I think you were concerned about is the size of the vehicle, because it sounds like from what you suggested that some areas that we're going to go into, you know, you've got a big old bus. It may be a little dangerous to go in
Well,
those
and
areas.
that's why a school bus probably is the best option, because as far as I know, they do go over the railroad tracks, etc., into the various neighborhoods. They already, you know, and they have that higher.
That's why I suggested that is
Yeah.
because they're built to go through those areas.
Yeah. So
And
the funny bus is actually, it is a school bus as well. It's a school bus, you know,
Yeah.
it's that style of bus, let's say.
The one that's called like Gus the Bus or something like that. It has some sort of funny looking thing on the outside.
Yeah, there is Gus the Bus too, which I think teaches kids. It goes around the
Right.
schools to teach
Right.
kids how to, you know, get on the bus and that kind of thing. Bus safety.
I may have to go if we get a school bus. I may get flashbacks. I'm not sure.
I know. I'm very excited. So we'll keep working on it. That is the biggest challenge. So if anybody has a connection anywhere that could think about use of a bus and a driver for about 4 hours, we're thinking, because we'd probably plan on stopping at a few places and actually getting out.
Right.
So very excited to do it. And just off, you know, slightly off topic, but on topic. If anybody ever wants a drive around, I am happy to. I know Sylvia has given people drive arounds as well.
and we
I
do
do
it
all the
anytime
time
somebody
with
wants it,
Walter.
if I can.
Yeah. So I'm very happy, and I can fit 3 people besides me in my car very comfortably, and you know, you get a good view, and I'm happy to do that just in the meantime. Obviously this big event is you know, is wonderful, and it's going to be great. And I also want to think about how to document it, to maybe have somebody with some videography skills to just kind of document it as we go along, so we have something that could, you know, has a long shelf life as well at the end of it. So that's all very exciting. Anybody else? I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. The other thing is the city and county budgets. They're right in the process of doing their budget. They may have completed there were hearings and community meetings and so on for you guys to get involved. There were surveys on the county budget, but this is where they'll be actually deciding on the tax rate, which will determine your new tax bill based on your new tax value. So if you can look for opportunities, if they still exist, to just have your say. But they were particularly surveys, and a very easy user-friendly survey where you could basically tell the county and the city how you want them to spend the money, their tax dollars that they receive from the community. So that's something we'll be watching. I'll look at the agendas and try to figure out when the actual votes and adoptions and that kind of thing are going to happen. But the city and the county is working on that right now, their budgets. And I think that's everything. Anybody got anything else? Anything else to share? Good, bad, questions?
No, but I hope we can get the bus. I think
Yes.
It's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, thank you. And you know you're going to be one of the guides. So
There's one more thing, Teresa, and I'm gonna try to work on it this week. The flags that are still posted in downtown Derita
yes.
are horrible. They're in pieces, they're in strips. I'm going to see if I can get and work with a couple of the younger deals. I can't do it. To climb the ladder and take all those ragged flags down.
Thank you, Sylvia.
The American Legion is basically gone. There's only about 4 or 5 people still left. So if we want to continue with the flags and that kind of thing, we need to find somebody that would take on that work.
Yeah.
I would love to, but I'm too old. I can't climb the ladder anymore. But I've had calls from people wanting to know, when we're going to put the new ones up. And I have to simply say, I don't know, because we don't have a sponsor anymore.
So I guess I haven't been to a few meetings. Did that not happen already? We're still talking about the flags?
It's ongoing because they deteriorate so quickly. So it's sort of an ongoing process of monitoring the condition and being able to remove them as they have deteriorated and replace them.
Okay.
So the American Legion did that for many years, and then some residents of one of the neighborhoods, Kelsey Glen, they kind of took over unofficially, and it's all unofficial, which is another problem that we have, because the flags are mounted to Duke Power's poles, but we don't have official permission from Duke Power, but they've been there for decades. And, so it's it's a hard thing to get people involved with, unless they're also willing to take the risk that, they're doing something that's not strictly an official function or explicitly allowed, but it's, it's implicitly allowed. And of course it takes young, able-bodied people to get up and down the ladders and so on.
Duke they know about the flags. Matter of fact, when we were doing the intersection for Sugar Creek and Graham Street, some of their men put the braces back on, took the flags down, called me. I kept them till we got the new poles put in, and they put them back up. So there's not a disagreement with Duke.
No, I know that.
The problem is we can't, the ones that we're looking after it have aged out. And we're having a hard time getting younger people that's willing to go up on the ladder on that busy road and put them up and take them down. And and the American Legion, they all have passed on. I think there's only about 5 left still living. They've all aged out or passed on. And it's just a tradition that was started that you can't get the people to continue with, but they want to look at them, but they don't want to work for it.
Yeah.
So if it's something we want to do, we need to get somebody that is willing to take the lead and other than that, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Do we know how many of those flags are left? I know that I've seen a couple myself. I can picture them right now, but I don't know how many in total.
What do you mean, left on the poles or left to be put up?
On the poles that need to be taken down.
I know there's up between Niven and
Niven and Sugar Creek, there's one.
yeah, there's
Right there at the church.
several in there. Now, I do have one person that is worked with us at the last of it, Jack Brosh, and he's usually in these meetings, except he's contracting right now, and most of his stuff is early morning. I am going to contact him and see if he will take those down.
Okay, because I know someone too that might be able to help, who has ladders that might be able to help with that as well.
Who am I talking to?
Jill Stevenson.
Oh, okay. Well,
Because I noticed those flags as well a while back, and I'll try to help in any way I can.
well, we usually do it like on a Saturday morning, because if you do it like 7:30 or 8 o'clock, there's really not that much traffic. And we do that for a safety reason, because some of those are really close to the road. And you can reach me, or can you text me a way to reach you, so that if I can get one or two, then maybe you can get one or two and we can get them all done?
Sure.
Or you can text me at 980-356-0608. That's my cell phone number.
All right. Thank you.
Out of curiosity, Sylvia or Teresa, you say that the interest is waning with regards to the interest in the flag. Does Derita have a logo, a stamp, whatever the case might be, that can be raised versus the flag? I'm just brainstorming, but I was just curious.
I think the U.S. flag is a good representation. It's an old American neighborhood and an old American city.
Well, I think that was the intention of the American Legion when they put them up, but it never blossomed out that there's ever printed a logo, to my knowledge. And I've been in Charlotte since 1960. But what would you do with the logo?
Like some places have flags that have their logos on, even fraternities and sororities, I have no qualms with regards to the American flag. I'm a Marine Vietnam veteran, so I'm very much aware of the flag. So the thing is, I was just wondering, in order to rekindle the interest with regards to something like that, maybe a different approach on it might work. I was just brainstorming.
Biggest problem is the weather beating them out. If the wind, like we had that big windstorm, and it just rips those flags to pieces. So I don't know, and I don't know whether we should pursue a logo or not. That's not my. I'm all for it if anybody wants to do it. But like I said, I'm to the point that I'm about to age out of a lot of this stuff. I'm 82 years old.
What about the Legion? Is there, where's the new crop of members? You said that
they don't want to join. We've tried. I have sent 2 or 3 people. Basically what it is this section of the American Legion, the post they've got here is very old school. They do not allow alcohol in their meeting hall. They do not, there's a lot of things they don't allow in their meeting hall that the younger people are looking for. And the ones that have served, you know, they're not joining. We've had, I go to a lot of them because come from a very active military family. I myself have never served, but their meetings are bland. There's nothing to really, they have no big push for anything, and they're supporting what they're supporting except for the flags. And when the officers passed, and this guy, the one we got now, he's got his hands full of a lot of other things and really doesn't have time. And he's to the age he won't climb the ladder, but he just doesn't have time to do what needs to be done. And he doesn't have any help. That's the other thing. So I think if we want to keep the flags, we're going to have to find somebody other than the American Legion.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line. And our vision for downtown Derita, you know, someday, and it may even be possible, is to have, you know, more of a Main Street look downtown, which would include some cute light poles that could potentially hold a little Derita emblem of some kind, you know, something that would tell people that they're in Derita. And that may, you know, also have a flagpole that could, you know, and we
Right.
would have a process and to
What
hang
does
the
any-
flags and rotate them around depending on what, you know, there may be other flags that you might want to fly at different times of the year. I don't know. I'm also just brainstorming, but yeah, so that's like the long-term vision that maybe we could work on for
Excuse me, Teresa, does anybody know what happened to the sign that said welcome to Derita or Derita neighborhood that was at Gibbon and Sugar Creek?
I do not know. Hashim, I don't know if Hashim is on the call. But yeah, at some point when that new tenant moved in there, so I don't know. I don't think it was officially removed by anybody, but it is gone. And there's been some big concrete barrier type things that have been in that place, you know, been over there, like somebody was going to do something, but they haven't gotten very far. But yeah, so, you know, the one little Derita marker that we had, which was at the corner of Gibbon and Sugar Creek, is gone. So, and, you know, and this is definitely a priority for the Sugar Creek playbook. And I would think that, you know, we would get some funds from the city if we wanted to put a sign back, or, you know, not there necessarily. I mean, I think we had that sign there because Phil Harris owns that property. He's a longtime Derita native, and, you know, he was happy to have that sign on his property.
And it's been there since I moved out here.
Yeah.
Until recently.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian.
So yeah, that's definitely on the list as well. You know, to somehow, whether it's a sign or you know, a clock tower or whatever, you know, just so that people know they're in Derita, or a few little quaint light poles that might where we could put holiday decorations, as you see, you know, when you go to small towns or small little areas.
Well, do we know where we are for the mural on the ice plant?
Not yet, but we should know in the next couple of weeks. I think they will be doing those, awarding those grants. I believe the middle of April.
Okay.
So yeah, and that's Hashim. I don't think he's on the call, but he is leading that. Wrote that grant application and has pulled together the resources for that. So yeah, that is another little piece. I mean, little by little, we'll start to have a sense of place so that people know when they're in downtown Derita, where they are. But anyway, we're way over time at this point. Thank you, Sylvia. The flags, they always were just one piece that did communicate to people that they were in a place, that some kind of place that they were passing through, a kind of a small town, our little town of Derita. So I would hate to lose them personally or permanently. But again, it does take physical work on the ground to do that, and somebody to lead that up. So maybe somebody listening to this will be inspired. All these meetings are recorded and they do go on the YouTube channel, and I am going to work on a way to find a good quick summary of the meeting using AI at ChatGPT or whatever, all these marvelous things that I'm hearing about. I haven't had a chance to try any of that stuff. So if anybody more tech savvy than me knows how to do that, let me know. But yeah, the more people hear our discussions and get inspired to do something that they are capable of leading or pulling together a team, the better. The more stuff will get done. So
I got to run because I got to go pick up the grandkids.
I know. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And we'll see you next month. Will be a Zoom again on May 4th, I believe. And then in June, we will have an in-person meeting, but it may be that it is just the bus tour. So that's still kind of in the hopper, what exactly we'll do for the June meeting. Hopefully a bus tour with some kind of event at the beginning or end that more people could get involved in than can be on the bus. So we're working on that for the first week in June, and that would probably be a Saturday event. The idea is to vary the time, because as you know, attending these 9 a.m. meetings is not possible for a huge segment of our population, residents, people working who don't have flexible schedules, etc. So that's the idea for June. So anybody wants to help with that, Jeffrey is doing a yeoman's job. I don't know if that's a term that makes any sense, but just a wonderful job with the bus part of it. But if we wanted to, have just a meeting or a gathering before or after the bus, we're envisioning that this would start at Derita Presbyterian Church, start and end there. So, there is potential to do some kind of either breakfast or lunch kind of activity around this. So that's the plan for June. Anybody want to get involved on that, please let me know, or Jeffrey. And otherwise, I'll see you in May. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, guys.